Hey everyone, welcome back to EsthyTech. In today's tutorial, we are diving into one of the most powerful ways to run Kubernetes in production using Amazon EKS, Argo CD and Lens. We'll be setting up a Kubernetes cluster using eksctl, a simple yet powerful CLI tool that makes the setup process smooth and fast. By the end of this session, you'll have your very own production ready EKS cluster up and running, and you'll be able to deploy workloads using Argo CD right away. So grab your coffee and let's get started. Before we dive in, let's quickly talk about Argo CD and note that I'm working on a video to dive deep into this topic for you all. So, what is Argo CD? It's a GitHub-based tool that keeps your Kubernetes cluster in sync with what's in Git, meaning no more manual kubectl apply headaches. With Argo CD, deployments are automated, visible in a clean UI, and easy to roll back if anything breaks. Before we dive in, I want to let you know that I've created a step-by-step documentation for this lab, and it's already available on my GitHub. You'll find the link in the description box below. Feel free to click the link, fork the repo into your own GitHub account, follow along as we go through the lab. Whether you're watching or building hands-on with me, this guide has got you covered. If you haven't yet watched my previous tutorials on setting up these tools, there's a playlist linked below as well. Go check it out. To start, let's create our Kubernetes cluster using eksctl.
Okay, let's get started. But before we proceed with this lab, I want to make sure that we have this prerequisite set before we can proceed with the lab. We want to make sure that our AWS account has AWS CLI installed and also EKS control installed. We also want to make sure that our AWS account has sufficient IAM permission to create our cluster, IAM role, and also EBS volume. We also want to make sure that we have kubectl installed and configured for kube operation. So let's get started with the creation of our cluster.
Set up a directory for cluster configuration with mkdir command. Cd to the directory and create an EKS cluster with this command. EKSCTL create cluster dash 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 name EsthyTech dash EKSCTL dash cluster dash 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 region US East 1 dash dash node group name my nodes dash dash node type T3 medium dash dash nodes 2 dash dash nodes main 1 dash dash nodes max 2. Verify cluster nodes with the kubectl get nodes.
Now our cluster is being installed. We want to make sure that we install our kubeconfig. But most of the time, since we are running our cluster in the cloud, it automatically update the kube configuration file. So we don't need to update any. But should in case you have to update it, you want to run this following command.
Now let's install and start Argo CD in a Kubernetes cluster. Before we continue, let's talk about Lens, the Kubernetes IDE that makes life easier. Unfortunately, Lens is no longer fully free, but there's a great open source alternative called OpenLens. So what is OpenLens? OpenLens is a lightweight Kubernetes IDE that gives you a visual way to manage and monitor your clusters. Cluster dashboard. View real-time metrics, logs, and events from your cluster. Multi-cluster management. Manage multiple Kubernetes clusters in one UI. Built-in terminal. Run kubectl commands directly in Lens. Workloads overview. See deployments, pods, services, ingress, and more. Role-based access control (RBAC). Manage users and permissions. Helm integration. Deploy and manage Helm charts. Resource monitoring. CPU, memory, and network usage. Extensions. Extend functionality by adding custom features and integrations. And that's what we'll use to interact with our cluster visually.
Now we want to install and start using Argo CD in our Kubernetes cluster. So let's go ahead.
Let's go ahead and install Argo CD into our cluster with this command. Install Argo CD on the created namespace. By executing this command, and remember, all this can be found on the official website. Check the pods created. kubectl get pods -n Argo CD. Check the services. kubectl get svc-n Argo CD. Change the Argo CD server service type to load balancer. You can do this via kubectl or visually with OpenLens, and we'll use OpenLens here because it's beginner friendly. After switching the service type to load balancer, grab the external DNS from the Argo CD service. Get the password to connect to the admin account. So to do these tasks, let's click on Secret, Show, Master the password, and connect on the Argo UI with username admin and the password generated. Create an application in Argo CD using a YAML file. So we are going to head back to GitHub.
At this stage, we're going to create an application in our cluster using Argo CD using the YAML file that we have, okay? So now let's create a new app. So we want to create the app. So let's say we're going to name our app like demo Argo. Name it any whatever naming convention that you want. So I'm just going to say demo Argo. I can put probably -1.
Like I said, name it whatever you want. No, not that one. It's okay like that. Then for project name, yeah, you can mostly put your project name so that you can distinguish your various projects that you're creating. So let's just say default. It's okay. For here that it says sync policy, you can click automation because that's what we want, right? Nobody wants to be clicking all the time. We want to automate things so that it can be faster. So you're gonna enable auto sync with it, self healing, so that in case there's any problem, you have self healing. Click there. So automate every other thing. Skip schema, skip all this. Just skip respect, skip all those. But like I said, all these parameters you can input them should in case the project you're working on require this fee, okay? But now since we are just doing this demo, we don't need any of this fee right now to deploy our app. So let's click on auto create namespace because we need that. So our source code now, this is where the magics happen. You can literally go to GitHub. It's not just GitHub that they use here. They use Hem, they use OCI, they use a lot. So now we are using Git. So now we can literally go back to our Git. Yeah. Then you can clone this. So put it on HTTPS. So let's clone this. Let's clone that. Then we can go back to Argo CD and paste that link. Paste. So now we have paste our repo. It's gonna authenticate. Revision heads is like branches. You can see branch. So that's we have branch, you have tag, you can pretty much use tags. So now yeah, you can always change it if you want. So by the head is like branch, so it's okay. Then for the path, when you go to oh my god, let me cancel this. Cancel. Yeah, for path, when once you go to GitHub, you can see on the project we are working on, right? It has a lot of folders and files. So like what let's click here. On the dev folder, we have application like deployment and service. We want to deploy this application, right? So we want to deploy the application, and we have the name of our application. You can pretty much always change the name of your application. Then this is actually a deployment YAML file. So we are using this image. You can pretty much change the image that you want. Your container name, my app. So this is it. And we are using service, right? So this is the service, and we are using load balancer for our service. Yeah, load balancer. So then there's the name of our service. So now let's go ahead and execute this. So we are going to go back to Argo CD. The path, let's come back here so that you can. So now let's go back here. So this is the path dev. So this part, we don't want to execute everything that we have. We are not building all the apps that we have on our project. So we want to build a particular folder. So we are doing the dev. So we're going to click on the path, go back to Argo CD here. So we're going to write dev. Okay, so now we have that the destination clustered. It will automatically show HTTP Kubernetes dash default service. So that's okay. So that's a URL. So we're gonna click on our namespace. We can still call it Argo CD. It doesn't really matter. Even if we don't have this, it can literally pretty much just generate us a name. Okay, we got that. That should be our URL. I'm gonna copy this and just keep it. I'm copying that. I need that. It's okay. We got that. We're gonna just click on create. So yeah, we have create. And let's see. Okay. It's actually creation in progress. That is healthy and it has been synced. You can see that. Wow, that's our app. So you can see the app, demo app. So let's click there and you can see the flow of our workflow, the name of our app, right? Then you can see the service, the deployment, how it's been deployed. That's the name of the deployment. Then you can see the replica that we have, and we are actually having 4 replica. You can all literally change a replica, which are the ports. So you can literally change it to see how the traffic is rerouting, right?
You can see how the traffic is rerouting. Then every information that they're going to be having from the front end of this app is coming from this back end. So traffic can be rerouted from one port to another, from this port to this port to this port to this port. Okay. EKSctl get deployment. Let's see the deployment that we have. Hold on. Uh-oh, sorry, I did not type that correctly. So you want to make sure that your deployment, yep, there we go. I was like, what? The resource found in default namespace gives it a get deployment. Okay, in the namespace dash n Argo CD. Here we go. Okay, we got it right now. So we are trying to look at the deployment that we just created. So I said keep stay get deployment. It wasn't like it. So just read the errors and try to amend it. Remember we created our deployment in a particular namespace and the namespace was Argo CD. So you want to specialize and specify that. If not, you will not be able. So now you can see our deployment. Application controller, this, that, this. We have this deployment. We have the name of, so these are all the deployment that came that are running, and this is actually the name of our deployment. So this is our deployment. We can go ahead and execute this deployment to investigate. So let's go and say kubectl get deployment in this namespace that will give the name of the deployment. So let's go back. Let's copy first of all this command. Copy. I don't know if I'm recording. Okay, I am. So I hope I copy. So my deployment. So let's copy that. Then we call the command. Then we go back kubectl and get deployment. Then the name of the deployment we want to, which is this. Let's describe this deployment. Kubectl. Now we are not getting deployment. We are describing the deployment. So let's get describe deployment. Here we go. I shouldn't have put this dash O white. So this flag is gonna go out. So let's take it out. We are describing our deployment, so we don't need that. It was an error on my part. Okay. So now this is a deployment. We can now go ahead. You can see the namespace when it was created, the label, everything, the replica, the 4-year rolling update. Here we go. That's the strategy that we are using, rolling update. Because it, okay, the image, there's an image. So the port 80. We can always literally change this and use ingress. Perfect.
Thus, a successful creation of our app.
After successfully done with the lab, we want to make sure that we delete all resources so that we will not incur any charges in the cloud. Remember, we are using the cloud AWS and you don't want to incur charges. So delete all the cluster or all the resources.
With the following commands: kubectl delete namespace argo cd. Delete the EKS cluster with this command: eksctl delete cluster dash dash name EsthyTech dash eksctl cluster dash dash region US East 1. And after deleting the cluster, you can verify in CloudFormation that all the stats related to the cluster creation were successfully deleted. Note: in real-world scenarios, avoid deleting namespaces if they host other applications. For this lab, it's okay, but in production, it's a big no-no. All official documentation for tools used in this lab can be found in the GitHub repo linked in the video description. And that's it. You've just created an EKS cluster, installed and accessed Argo CD, used OpenLens, deployed an app, learned how to clean up. If you found this tutorial helpful, please smash that like button, subscribe to EsthyTech, and tap that bell icon so you don't miss what's coming next. And hey, drop your questions in the comments. I'd love to hear how your cluster setup went. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep learning with EsthyTech.
Let's build the future. One line of code, one dream at a time. From the cloud to the console, the rhythm flows. Innovation lives where the knowledge grows. EsthyTech, your tech journey starts here. Code it, dream it, live it. One line of code, one dream at a time. From the cloud to the console, the rhythm flows. Innovation lives where the knowledge grows.